In Mauritius, Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth announced several subsidies aimed at lowering the price of several consumer products. An additional 7 products were earmarked for this, including canned fish and tomatoes, powdered milk and others. The subsidies took effect on Monday and will be in place for 6 months. This move follows a surge in the price of consumer staples triggered by prolonged economic disruptions due to COVID-19. CGTN's Liu Feifei has more on this story.
Mauritius is recognized globally as a best practice model in the battle against COVID-19. However, the success, thanks to stringent lockdown measures and border closing, has come at an economic cost. While Mauritius enjoys a relatively modernized and diversified economy, tourism still accounts for some 30% of the GDP. And at the same time, the island nation is heavily dependent on imports for basic consumer staples. This double-edged sword of less foreign currency coming in and lots of it going out has put significant pressure on consumer wallets.
The economy locally has been hit more significantly than elsewhere in the world. Last year, GDP dropped by somewhat close to 15%, which obviously is quite a huge drop and much higher than what happened in the rest of the world. Because if we look at Europe or even the US, the contraction was limited and didn't exceed 10%.
Compounding this domestic contraction in the economy, costs of imports have skyrocketed while the Mauritian rupee has devalued, creating a perfect storm for people struggling to put food on the table for their families.
The subsidy will help the public to buy food for their daily needs. The price of food has gone up too high and the people, they couldn't afford to buy food anymore. But with these new subsidies and the lower prices, people can buy what they need again.
This new subsidy measure will bring prices for the 7 items down to what they were as of January 1st this year.
The government will allocate 12 million USD roughly for the next 6 months to support the subsidies and importers, which, if we look at it in terms of GDP, accounts for less than 1% of the current GDP, which is quite manageable at the end.
While some detractors believe the subsidy has come too late, others are concerned about the lack of government price monitoring and enforcement capabilities. But most Mauritians find the news a welcome relief.
The situation in Mauritius is that everyone is suffering in their own way because of the problems brought here by COVID-19. To help everyone now, the price decrease on food from the government is very good.
While the fallout from COVID-19 continues to pressurize the Mauritian economy, what we're seeing is the national government stepping in to protect those who are most vulnerable. And even though these new subsidies provide only temporary relief, the real goal is to vaccinate 60% of the population in time for the scheduled full border openings in October. When the tourists come back, economic recovery will be on the horizon. Liu Feifei, CGTN, Port Louis, Mauritius.